All right, guys, we're back. Let's take a look at what happened to our trade. I just recorded the whole thing and realized it wasn't even recording. I don't even know what happened. The previous trade we had was the buying climax, upthrust, UTAD, upthrust after distribution, and it sort of got stalled out here. Well, what happened? Basically, classic buy bid happened. They shorted at the absolute bottom. They got squeezed and wrecked, right? And you can see it. I was watching it real time. I can't go any further back, but this is the funding rates, right? See how they explode down here and they stayed at like negative 0.07 until they got squeezed out and price went up accordingly. Uh, and then that was actually, it's more visible what happened. There's two squeezes really. I think Binance jumped in as well up here and then it squeezed a little bit up. It's more visible on the Ethereum chart. If we go on ETH, you can see two areas where that happened. You can't see it very well, but it's this run up as well. But anyways, the Bybit one was the main squeeze. So what happened now, right? My trade was closed off. I lost about 30%, right? I scaled in because right around here, this was retesting the top. So I scaled in more. I kind of closed off about right here somewhere. But it is what it is. These things happen, right? But I gave another possible scenario where this is just a part of another larger bounce and it goes down right off this exact line is what I showed. I thought it was a less likely scenario, but again, I was open to anything. I don't really force these things. As if you jump in early like I did, you're often forced to reevaluate your position. So what's happening now? Well, right now we have a pretty classic distributive structure up here, right? And if you look at it, let's go into 15 so we can get some definition. If you look at it here, it's being held down by this long-term resistance. It's kind of what's forming it. This is the resistance for Bitcoin that started at 68K or whatever, 69K. The absolute top regions. This is the most important resistance. When we break this, then we're technically in an accumulation or a recovery V-shaped or whatever phase. Everything before this, we're still on a downward trend is how I view it, right? So here is a distributive structure, right? We have the buying climax, up thrust. This should be the UTAD, the up thrust after distribution. One interesting thing about distribution structures is you'll get irregular volume flow, right? You'll get these little spikes randomly. And with a cumulative structure, you don't really get these. You get sort of a smooth volume profile. Nothing's perfect, but during the buildup of the phase, you have smooth volume. So this is a classic one, right? This is literally to the T, a classic distribution. And it should be breaking very soon, right? This is the level. It's actually this one right here. With enough force, it should break through. So what is this? Well, it's going to lead us, if we look at the larger picture, it's going to lead us back into this range. Hopefully nothing happens with the funding again. Everything seems pretty negative with the USD or USDT margined ones and sort of, well, actually pretty neutral and then a little bit negative here. But for all intents and purposes, you can say it's neutral. If it breaks this, we're going to see a quick dump down to here for sure. Then if it breaks this, and this is one of the fib levels, we might get a little dump right here because there is a lot of resistance between this area, this area, this area. And then we should retest the bottoms, right? If that plays out. The targets for this distribution itself, if you want to be You should short when it retouches here. The safe one will be right here, 37,500 about, in case it bounces off the fib level, maintains. There's a confluence. There's this blue resistance, which started down here, and the fib level. So it's pretty strong. If this is just a maintaining of the trend, it will go here and then maybe something like this, right? Which will mimic something similar to this as well. Very likely as well. So this will be a pretty safe place to get a good profit. You have a chance to get about 2% or so times leverage, right? That's all there really is right now. If it enters here, I do expect it to go all the way down here. And this, I feel like, is a bigger structure building. So what we might have is these two tops, maybe a third top right here down the line. Might take another week or so. Or this was it, right? These three tops. And we might go down. Or we might just break through this. If we break through this resistance, like I said, the downward trend is broken. And we are basically going back up at whatever pace. It might be a sideways accumulation or we're going back up. But that's all we really have. Even if this was the 3 tries up, it does conform. The UTAD plunged back into the trading range about 50%. This would be dead on, right? This would be kind of hard to trade perfectly, but this could be another rising wedge that we might see something like this, right? So those are my thoughts right now. All I know is if this does break here, I am going to jump in, and then I'm going to take some off here, but I'm expecting it to go lower. That's the beauty of Wyckoff. You can always find some trades somewhere.